مرحبا، يعطيكم العافية. بدي أعمل اليوم revision ل Differentiation P1 plus Differentiation P2. Okay, today's lesson بدي أعمل revision and we will solve questions from the past papers. So prepare yourself for this and let's start with the revision P1. Differentiation P1, they are showing in differentiation P1. First of all, in differentiation P1, we have started with the rule for differentiation. If I have fx equals x power n, so the differentiation f prime x equals nx power n minus 1. And don't forget that the differentiation notation can be written either by dy over dx, or we can say it's f prime x, or we can say y prime, or we can say gradient. Okay, whenever this word gradient comes to the question, على طول احنا بنفهم انها differentiation now. Why? Because gradients can be found either two ways, either one of the two ways. Either if we have 2 points, we may say y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. But if we have the equation of the line, let's say y equals anything, so the gradient is the gradient of the line at any point. Let's say that this is a straight line and there is a tangent somewhere to the fx tangent touching. Okay, so we say the gradient of the curve, نكتبها gradient of the curve at x equals something a, let's say, is the differentiation of the function at that a. So the gradient of the tangent is the same as the gradient of the curve at that point. And don't forget what I'm saying. This is very important. The gradient of the tangent is equal to the differentiation, the gradient of the curve at that point. F prime A is equal to the gradient of the tangent. And what is the tangent? The tangent is a straight line. Tangent at that point. Okay, at that point, which is x equals a. Tamam. This is the first thing for the revision. And second thing, we'll say that number two, the equation of the tangent of the tangent of the tangent is the same as the equation of the tangent is the same as the equation of the straight line, because straight lines, tangents are straight line. It's either y equals mx plus c, you may use it, or we can say something written in the book, that's y minus y1 equals gradient x minus x1. They are the same. Okay, but there are different forms to write down the equation of the line. Where m is the gradient means it's the differentiation of the curve at that point, at x equals some a, for example. Okay, as you know, before going to number 3, as you know that if we have two lines parallel, so their gradients is equal to each other, m2. And if we have two lines perpendicular, so their gradient m1 times m2 is equal to -1. Okay, now those two are very useful in finding the equation of the tangent and the equation of something called normal. Okay, so let's see over here. paste for this question. Now number 3, equation of the normal. Number 3, equation of the normal. And as you know, if we have a tangent to the curve at a point, that's a tangent, and the normal is a perpendicular line, so the gradient, let's say this is m1, the gradient of the tangent m1, the gradient of the normal m2, as they are perpendicular, m2 times m1 is equal to negative 1. That's why m2 will be negative 1 over m1 divided by m1 divided by m1. So equation of the normal is y minus y1 equals negative 1 over m x minus x1, where x1 and y1 are the point of tangent, x1, y1. That's x1 and y1, this point, okay? So that's called equation of the normal and equation of the tangent. I would like to see one of the questions that I brought from the past paper itself, from the past paper, which is a curve has this equation. Let me take it on a page, separate page. Now the curve C has the equation. The curve C has this equation, okay? And find dy over dx. Of course, as you know, this equation has to be written in the proper form so we can differentiate it. So the y is equal to 1 over 8 x power 3 minus that fraction, that's x power half. When you take it up, x power negative half, minus 24 x power negative half plus 1. So now we can differentiate, implies that y prime is equal to, that is dy over dx. 3 times 1 over 8, 3 over 8, x power 2, and half, negative half, times negative 24, that's a positive 12x power, negative half, minus 1, that's a negative 3 over 2, plus 1, differentiation is 0. In simplest form we found it. Lakin I would like in the every time to write it properly. That's a 3 over 8 x power 2 and plus 12 that is over, because of the minus sign هننزلها تحت, that will take it down, x power 3 over 2 as a root, it's a root of 2 power 3, so that's a power 3 square root power 3. Always try to write down things with no negative powers and no fractions after simplifying. Now the point is P for negative 3 lies on C. Find the equation of the tangent. Write your answer in this form. Okay, find the equation of the tangent. That is your x1, that is your y1. Okay, now so first of all I have to find the gradient, which is the differentiation at x equals 4. And so the m, which is your y prime at the point x equals 4, is equal to 3 over 8 4 power 2 plus 12 over square root of 4 power 3. That is equal to 16, 3 over 8 times 16 plus 12 over square root of 4 is 2, power 3 is 8. And then we can simplify. Divided by 8, that's a 2, divided by 8, that's a 1, divided by 4, that's a 3, divided by 4, that's a 3. So the answer is 2 times 3 is 6 plus 3 over 3 is 1. No, there is something wrong. That's a 2. 1.5, so the gradient is 7.5, or we may write it as a fraction 14 over 2. no, wrong, 17 over 2, sorry. 15 over 2. So that's the gradient, which is your m, which is that m. So y equals 15 over 2 x plus c. Now to find the value of c, we may substitute this point because I have x and y. So this will be, implies that that's a negative 3 equals 15 over 2. The x is 4 plus c, means it's a negative 3 equals, divided by 2, that's a 1, divided by 2, that's a 2, means that's a 30 plus c, implies that c equals negative 33. So the equation of the line y equals m, that's a 15 over 2 x plus c. They need it in this form, okay, which is done.